around. The sharp end cut the other end of the back.
Mind her.
Oh, I've cut the Queen's head off.
You better not.
That's
Treason.
treason. Thank you. Treason. What is it?
Oh. Buckingham Palace, London. Royal Mail. Cardboard. Tissue.
There's posh
Envelope.
envelopes as well.
Oh, that's a nice photo. Look, isn't she sweet?
Who's that lady?
Oh, she hasn't got a hat on. I'm pleased to know that you are celebrating your diamond wedding anniversary on the 19th of August 2021. I send my congratulations and best wishes you on such a special occasion. Mr. and Mrs. Osgood. Maurice Osgood. Elizabeth R.
Wow.
Wow, you're with the in crowd now.
She signed it.
Yeah.
Yes, she signed it, Elizabeth R.
How nice.
They look like they've been married a while. Oh, and who are these two people? They must be the strange locals.
It's not bad, is it?
It's not bad.
Sure. You bring a kite.
Are we cuddling? I know.
Hello, sis.
Hello. Oh, then we go.
We said we're on a guide to school.
Don't ruin the gown.
Climb every mountain, search high and low, follow every byway, every path you know. Climb every mountain, ford every stream, follow every rainbow, till you
Pump.
find your dream.
Pump harder. Pump harder. Look at those muscles, they're like sure as them. And pump, 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 all the way down, go, go. And it's up there, it's pumping from there. Pumping. Well, basically you're blowing a whistle, aren't you?
We're staying home tonight, far away from the bustle and the bright city lights. Let them all fade away, just leave us alone, and we'll live in a world of our own. We'll build a world of our own that no one else can share. All our sorrows we'll leave far behind us there. And I know you will find there'll be peace of mind when we live in a world of our own. Oh my love, I cried for you so much. Lonely nights without sleeping while I long for your touch. Now your lips can erase the heartache I've known. Come with me to a world of our own. We'll build a world
Anniversary to you. It's bubbling a
Well,
little bit.
you don't recognise them, it's you and your wife.
And where are you going to cut it?
That's for the cake.
Probably cut your head off, because that's what she's been wanting to do for ages.
Well, you can't spoil the forehead, can you?
Well, you're going to have to.
We'll build a world of our own that no one else can share. All our sorrows we'll leave far behind us there. And I know you will find there'll be peace of mind when we live in a world of our own. And I know you will find there'll be peace of mind when we live in a world of our own.
And then was obviously Dad didn't work very far away, so that was great. And so he was always back, and we used to have to be very quiet for the news at 6 o'clock, but we watched Ivy the Engine and things like that, didn't we, before that? Which I think Dad enjoyed more than us.
He was coming back from Ivy
His favourite was always a Fred Quinn meet Tom and Jerry.
Yeah.
Ils s'aimaient depuis 2 jours à peine. Y a parfois du bonheur dans la peine. Mais depuis qu'ils étaient amoureux, leur destin n'était plus malheureux. Ils vivaient avec un rêve étrange, et ce rêve était bleu comme les anges. Leur amour était un vrai printemps, oui, aussi pur que leur tendre 20 ans. C'est la romance de Paris, au coin des ruelles fleuries. Ça met au cœur des amoureux un peu de rêve et de ciel bleu. Ce doux refrain de nos faubourgs parle si gentiment d'amour que que tout le monde en était pris. C'est la romance de Paris, que tout le monde en était pris. C'est la romance de Paris.
With the mad Hello, Leah. Hello, James. Say hello. Danny's having an interesting Emma. Penny's having a very interesting very polite. Grandma and Grandad. Look across the table, there's George, Matthew, and Harry. I'm just embarrassing everybody. Alex, Lottie. Which way? Oh, and James! Yeah! Oh, we've only got the heads. Oh, I better go sit down.
Parle si gentiment d'amour que tout le monde en était pris. C'est la romance de Paris, que tout le monde en était pris. C'est la romance de Paris.
And if I say too much about it, I'll probably cry, so I'll stop. So I thought I'd give you a bit of the history. Wedding August 1961. We met in London in 1959. Dad, I'll call him Dad, Maurice was at National Leather Sellers College at Tower Bridge, and I was at Philippa Fawcett College in Streatham learning to be a teacher. Our first date was to see I Was Monty's Double. And it was Dad, he came as my blind date. He was meant to take a friend of mine out the next night, and he didn't. So the rest is history. There was a group of us girls, and this, my friend Jill said, oh, she was going to see, and I said, oh, I really want to see that film. She said, I'll tell Brian to bring a date for you. Morris. And I said, I can't come out with you, you're taking Ira out tomorrow. And he said, oh, never mind about that. And that was the start of it. Dad lived in Carlisle and I lived in Midhurst in West Sussex. My sister Vicky was 6.5 years younger and my brother David 18 years younger. Morris and I were both in our first year at college and enjoyed being together, exploring London, and did a lot of walking. Because we were students, we had no money, so we walked around the West End and we liked Richmond Park and all different places in London we got to know quite well. And we were both in our first year of college. We got engaged officially while on a family holiday in Bournemouth in August 1960. My parents were shocked, said we were in too much of a hurry. Dad's company had built a tannery in East Pakistan, which is now Bangladesh, and wanted him to go out as technical manager. He didn't want to go on his own, so we agreed to get married the next year, 1961. So I had a year teaching in Poole in West Sussex, and he was working in his tannery in Carlisle, so it was a bit of a sort of, long train journeys, and because you didn't have a telephone, it was writing letters and things like that.
You would have struggled.
I would have struggled, yeah. No, I would have struggled. You would have just be able to
Be able to read your letters.
So we got married the next year in 1961. An unusual start to married life. After the wedding in Midhurst Parish Church, the reception in the garden of Harlech, our house where I was born and bred, for about 30 people. Then we went to Torquay for 10 days honeymoon. We had to hire a car for the journey north to be able to leave it in Carlisle. And the only place we could arrange this was going to London, picking it up at the end of Park Lane near Hyde Park Corner. I had to drive, as Dad had only passed his test the previous year, a very hairy drive south, and then the same north, with all the wedding presents and my bits and pieces ready to go out to East Pakistan. No motorways, so we had to stop the night with friends in Matlock. By the time we'd unloaded our things at Dad's parents' house, there was no room for us, so we had to stay at Auntie Flo. Auntie Flo had a double bed. Gran and Grandad only had a single bed and a camp bed, so we decided Auntie Flo was better.
Why was that?
Well, much more shocking.
That's why Nicola's here.
You haven't got to me yet.
Practicing.
Yes. We were having a bungalow built in Dalston, but it wasn't finished until we came back from being abroad. Dad had to work in a tannery in Preston for a few weeks. We stayed in a guest house where I made curtains for our bungalow, and we had to pick up a trunk with all our things for 20 months in Pakistan, private and personal. The sewing machine went, also a typewriter, so the company said, well, you fill this trunk and it'll come out to Pakistan. We don't have to come by sea, so it wouldn't be there when we arrived. So it was, everything else we had to carry in our suitcases. We were due to fly out from London on November the 1st, and Dad's boss gave us an extra honeymoon of 10 days to stay anywhere we liked between England and Pakistan. So we chose Geneva, Rome, Tehran and Karachi. When we got to Karachi, we were so exhausted, we just went to the room and died for a day and a half. But Tehran was so interesting. It was absolutely fantastic. It was a beautiful place. Geneva and Rome, well. Rome was quite funny because we were picked up by this taxi driver who looked at us and said, "You are newly married?" And we said, "Yes, how do you know?" I mean, we were so young, 23. So he said, "Oh, you are newly married. I take you to see the Pope. He will give you an alarm clock." No, thank you very much. So we hid in our room until the taxi driver had gone away because he waited outside our little guest house for ages. So we arrived exhausted in Karachi, and we had to get on a plane to go from Karachi across India into Jessore, which was to Dhaka, which is the capital of East Pakistan. And we were caught a super constellation plane. It was very noisy, and it had all these flames going. Got a bit nervous about that. And the guy I was sitting next to, a Pakistani, he kept taking socks off. And I think he'd probably got all his luggage. I think he was wearing it. Obviously his feet were getting hot. And he kept peeling off a pair of socks, and then he peeled off another pair of socks. It was a bit weird, anyway. But we got to Jessore and we had to change into another small plane, Jessore.
Yeah, but first of all, we had to go to Tijessel Hospital.
We haven't got to Tijessel yet. We got to Tijessel, and then we had a 20-minute drive to Taltala Hat. But we had to visit this hospital. You're going
Why?
to love it. Because there were two men.
The hospital was run by nuns and Catholic priests. And there'd been a bad accident in the tannery because we'd imported sulfuric acid concentrate from England, and it arrived in glass carboys in wooden crates and to be unloaded from a barge into the tannery. And whilst they were unloading it, one of the bottoms dropped out of the crate and the glass carboy split and sulfuric acid poured onto the deck and got over the legs of the poor lads who worked in the tannery, because they never wore anything lower than their hips, really. And so they'd been taken to hospital to be patched up by the nuns in Tijessel. And when we went there to see the hospital, we thought, this is incredible, it's so foul. How can anybody survive? And there was no food available in the hospital. The relatives of the patients had to provide the food to keep the guys alive.
And they were open-sided buildings.
It was like
just looking
verandas,
outside.
yeah.
Verandas, and they were on sort of what they call charpoys, which were kind of woven string beds, and that's what they were on. And we were very shocked at that.
Did they survive all right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that was the encouraging thing, that they did survive.
Yes, they did.
And the skin healed, but it was absolutely hideous to see. And a month later, we went back to that hospital because we were going to Tijessel or something. And we thought how marvellous this hospital was. It was so clean and sanitised, and the people were so well looked after. And that was the difference between arriving first into a third world country and a month later when you become already used to third world conditions, that you thought it was quite good.
Anyway, we lived in this place called Taltala Hat. It was a small village where the tannery was beside the river, and that was, the river was 100 miles, we were 100 miles from the sea, and the river was tidal, and it was 3 hours up, 3 hours down, and 6 hours standing still. So it was so flat, and we had, there was jungle across the river, it was all very flat, and mostly Hindus living across the river. Then we had a single carriageway road to Kulna, which is the next town south. And it was just literally a concrete road, and then a railway line and more jungle. I thought there'd be a snake round every corner, but it wasn't too bad. We were arriving in November, it was their winter, and the snakes weren't out. Until somebody bought a 12-foot python and brought it and held it. I said, come on, look at this python. They wanted us to skin it and tan the python's skin, but didn't it? Well, we don't want to tell the rest. When Arthur Baker, who was the works manager, met us at Tijessel, he was so shocked because we looked so young. He told Dad he should grow hair on his face to get respect from the workers. And then he decided the bungalow beside the river that we were meant to live in was not suitable for me. So he gave us the snake-free flat, which was above the tannery. It had a good view of the surroundings, where on the roof, where we could play badminton in the evening. But then we found all the locals would come along and sit on the road to watch the Memsar jumping around with badminton in the shorts. We couldn't do that too long. I was not expected to go shopping in the local village market. No women were allowed. We had a cook who shopped every day and cooked English-type food. No curries unless we requested. We had a houseboy who waited on us, brought food, tidied up. We could have used the local washerman until I realised he used the river. So he'd take it out of the river and bring the sheets on. So I did the washing in the bath. That was easy. Some of the women called on us after dark. as they were interested to see me, they were fascinated by my hair. Because they were never allowed out anywhere, and we didn't meet socially or anything like that. They knocked at the door and went, "Oh, look at one side," so I had to show them the hair. Because they were all in their black and covered face and head. There was a Canadian newsprint mill near Culman that employed a few Europeans. It had a school, a swimming pool, and a club with a bar, which we joined. But to get a drink, we had to sign something saying we were alcoholics.
It lasted till now.
Yeah. Never finished. To get a drink, we had to sign we were alcoholics. Some parties there, but all men, mostly. There were a few English women, but they weren't very friendly. A bit snooty, and they played a lot of mahjong. There was an English doctor there who looked after us when necessary. The weather was warm in the winter until the monsoon season came in March with high humidity and violent rainstorms with thunder. Made me stop being afraid of thunderstorms after experiencing storms out there because they were very violent. There are many stories I could tell of different experiences, but I can't go on all night. I came home on November the 1st, heavily pregnant. Left Dad out there till he came back in June 1963. The doctor gave me 3 choices, as he couldn't guarantee to be there all the time for the birth of this lovely little baby. So one was to go to the nuns in Calcutta, or to go to the nuns in Dhaka, or 3 go home to Mum. So there was no choice, so I went home to Mum. I cried on the plane, but I did see the top of Everest while flying in the evening light to Karachi. Well, I say I saw Everest. It was sticking out of the cloud, and they think it had to be Everest. There was no other big mountain, the Himalayas. I've seen Everest. My parents were delighted to have me back safe and sound, and Nicola, we called her Snowdrop, was born in the worst snow and coldest winter for over 20 years. That's it.
Bravo! Then we have to have a toast to Grandma and Granddad.
we're staying home tonight.
No, it's not in bed, but you were cuddled
No,
up
you were under
in
the
your bedroom
covers.
and you were under cuddling. And it was probably about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And I realised what was I just opened the door and I looked at you and found myself saying, "Oh, and Daddy has made you a tennis table." And I heard myself saying this, and oh my God, but he got you up and going. And we all go, oh yeah, Daddy's praying, Daddy's praying.
So, 14. Shocking. Shocking. And she didn't want to do that at the meal. I'm glad.
Well, I could have.
But I've still got it on video, so that's good.
Add it.
Oh yeah.
Without sleeping while I long for your touch. Now your lips can erase the heartache I've known. Come with me to a world of our own. We'll build a world of our own that no one else can share. All our sorrows will leave far behind us there. And I know you will find there'll be peace of mind when we live